better for everyone.
Exactly, because whether or not oil is better for our lives, it's certainly not better for the environment in the Gulf of Mexico.
Right.
Now, the USA today has a look at the best case scenarios and the worst case scenarios in this whole drama. They're saying the best case scenario is that the oil would stay in the now infamous loop current in the Gulf of Mexico, thereby not landing on the shore. But that's a very, very, very best case scenario. The worst case scenario is that basically the oil would be carried perhaps by the Gulf Stream beyond the Florida Panhandle and up the East Coast, destroying beaches the whole way along the way. And worse again might be a Katrina-like hurricane.
Well, I was about to bring that up. I mean, I don't actually know when hurricane season is, but if this is still here, I mean, that could just be awful.
Absolutely. And they're saying if they had a hurricane that was going north, kind of going north up the Gulf of Mexico, and if the eye of the storm was sort of to the west of where the main oil spill is, apparently it's the northeastern part of the hurricane that is often the most dangerous. And if that landed directly over the oil spill, it would drag it all up onto the coast, and that would be by far the worst case scenario. And they speak to one guy called Doug Inkley. He's a senior scientist with the National Wildlife Federation. He says Humpty Dumpty has already fallen, and I believe that there will be impacts in the Gulf for decades to come. So I think the worst case scenario is more likely than the best case scenario from that take on things. Now, we'll stay mainly on the oil spill today because I think it's such a big story and often difficult to find interesting angles on, but today there were some interesting angles. Notably this week, I suppose, Obama and his tough talk in the past week. Now, the Washington Post says that he started off the week by saying he would ride herd over the oil giant BP, and then we saw that famous who's ass to kick that was during an interview on NBC. But apparently he was also at a Medicare conference on Tuesday, and he was even talking tough at the Medicare conference, saying that anyone who tried to swindle the senior citizens, that they would go after them and prosecute them and all that. And apparently he has found his inner cowboy. It's been unleashed, according to the Washington Post.
People respond well to this, though. You know, we were talking about this yesterday when he wanted to know whose ass to kick, and apparently these tough words and using, you know, the kind of speech that we'd use in everyday life has really won in popularity.
Indeed, but some are saying that it's come too late. And if we have a look at the Independent and the UK, they're saying that really try as he might to ratchet up the public show of fury, a president celebrated for his cool demeanour never seems to do enough, and they call him no drama Obama. And they're saying really what worked very well during the presidential campaign just doesn't suit a crisis like this. And even though he's trying to ratchet up the fury, it just doesn't really, it's not very convincing. And so basically they conclude by saying presidents are expected to work miracles. No miracle can right the damage that has already been done. And most difficult, I suppose, is the fact that he's totally dependent on BP, which is an oil company, and worse again, a foreign oil company. So it's making him look totally impotent in the face of this crisis, no matter how much he screams and roars, which isn't even his forte. So that's a lot of coverage in the press today, as every day for the last 40 plus days and counting on that oil spill.
Well, I think you've just got time to end on The Guardian, I understand.
Yeah, okay, well, this is on the front page of The Guardian today, and it was making a lot of press as well recently. Love fails to conquer all as Malawi gay couple separate. Now, this was a couple that got 14 years in prison. They were since pardoned by the president, but it caused such a furore in Malawi, and they've been under such pressure from their families that they've actually separated. And there's a quote from one of them saying, he said, "I have had enough. I was forced into this whole drama and I regret the whole episode. I want to live a normal life, not a life where I would be watched by everyone, booed and teased." And campaigners have called it a tragedy. So the latest twist in that drama.
All right, James, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Anna.
All right, let's get a reminder now of the international news headlines. Violent